Hi, my name is Delit, and I love cross stitching. And today I'm going to show you the magazine Cross Stitch Gold. This is a British magazine, no longer in print. It was bought, or the magazine was taken over by the magazine The World of Cross Stitching, which is what I learned from another lady who makes YouTube videos by watching her video. So let's see. This is from 2005. It's issue 29. This advertisement on the back was for an event in 2005. It looks like it's a spring issue. I couldn't find like the name of the month that it was supposed to be for in the magazine. It cost me $7.49 when I bought it, so it's not too bad. It was a little bit cheaper than some of the other British magazines. They're bigger than American magazines. They have more pages. They have like a higher quality cover and paper. Their charts are all full color, so it kind of justifies them costing more. They have a lot of patterns, and the patterns often stretch over several pages, which makes it easier to see the symbols. They give more information about the patterns or the designers. In American magazines, they'll have a designer feature, but they often don't really tell you that much about the designer or the design. Sometimes, like it has a bird, and the British magazine gives you the scientific name for the bird, or just interesting things. And I really appreciate that extra effort that they put into their magazine. Or, yeah. So, anyway, let's look at the designs on the cover. Some really beautiful designs. We're only really going to look at a couple of designs in the magazine, plus some of the other features. We'll start with the table of contents. I love that the British magazines usually have either pictures of everything in the magazine or a lot of the designs. Here's your letter from the editor. Let's look at some of the designs up close. They have giveaways in British magazines, something else you don't see in American magazines, but they will give away like kits, nice kits. I think generally you have to be a subscriber to the magazine for those kinds of things. I'm going to skip over most of the designs, but there are several, and they have these big, beautiful charts. Um, and I just picked out my two favorite designs to show you. I'm going to show you a couple of other things before we get to the designs. So this is an example of a kit you get when you subscribe, just a tiny little kit But they have some of these kinds of characters in these English magazines that we don't really have patterns for here in the US. Because it has to do with licensing issues. Sucks to be us, right? Not get to have what they have somewhere else. This is their section on new products. These are events going on in the different parts of England or England and Ireland. So, if you get to go to England, that's something you might want to keep an eye out for. Some of the products, patterns, books, things that fabrics, flosses that they have there that would cost you a lot more to order here and have shipped here. Um, and that would just be hard to find. You might not even know to look for. And then the events that they have going on, the stores they have to shop at, but also the places where they keep their antique needlework and things that you can see there that you can't even really see here in the US. We don't have it. We don't have as long a history. So anyway, this is one of my favorite patterns in this issue of the magazine. Carol Thornton designed this. There is a lot to love because, in my case, I love everything about this design. It feels like a sampler. It even feels a lot like an American sampler. It has a phrase that says, "Spring when April sun and showers play happily before the darling buds of May." And so let's just look at some of the things that I love about this design. I'll hold it in a little closer so that you can see. Um, I love the border. I would love to try doing that border or something very similar to it on another design. I love the flowers that are in these strips. Look at that lovely tulip, for instance. I love the way she's done her trees. I love the flower section with the different sections in different colors. One of my favorite things is the way the sun is outlined with black, makes it feel a little bit like a child's drawing. The sheep look like they're bounding. I love the way she's done the bricks, the roof, the chimneys. I am starting a sampler, and looking at this made me think, oh, but I want to stitch this sampler. It even has a certain amount in common with the other sampler, which has a house with this kind of coloring and types of windows. It has sheep in it, and the sheep are one of the things I love about the design, and the border is something I love about the design. I also love this part down here. So I really love her design. Um, and I'm glad they shared it with us in this magazine. So I thought I would share this with you. This is this is an 18-year-old magazine. These were websites that they offered a guide to for back then. Um, I don't know if they're still up and running. But I thought I would share that with you. It was interesting because that was kind of new back then to have cross stitch on the internet and to have a guide for it in a magazine. Um, Isn't this beautiful? This pattern is not in this magazine, so I don't have a design to stitch it. In order to get it, you needed to subscribe to the magazine, which I was not going to be able to do since it was a British magazine. Would have been really pricey for me to order it. It probably was only available for a certain amount of time. It doesn't say who the designer is, although it does say that it's through DMC, so maybe it's possible to get it since DMC hasn't gone out of business. I don't know, it's cute, but kind of that's something that they do in the British magazines that happens a lot less in an American magazine, making you think you're going to get this design. No, you're not going to get it. I mean, you will if you subscribe, but so it came as a free kit when you subscribed. So that is something they do that American magazines I don't really see do, and it costs more. So I guess it justifies that at higher price with things like you're going to get a small free kit. This is probably the reason that I got this magazine was for this design. I had gotten the issue previous to this that had a coordinating design with it that was like an Elizabethan lady, and this is the Tudor lady. It's called Tudor Treasure. Look at how pretty her skirt is. Also, look at the window. They've done a really nice job in designing the lady. Makes me think of like Catherine of Aragon. I love how you've got your dry dead leaf here. And of course, there's the roses, and especially the Tudor rose. When for a long time, I thought that is just the most beautiful flower. I would love to have a Tudor rose. I didn't realize that it was a design of placing a white rose on top of a red rose. I thought it was an actual variety of flower that grows um, that looks like that. And I thought it was so neat. It is so neat. Just, more of the imagination than nature. So then they have several other really pretty designs in here that would be fun to stitch. They have a Swedish designer they featured in here. They have an article on color with fabrics and with floss. You can now just watch a YouTube video or go to a website and learn these things. Back in 2005, you would have learned about it more likely in a book or a magazine. And magazines like Cross Stitch Gold are where I learned those kinds of things. Um, so they have a section on bell pulls, something that I've never made but would really enjoy making a bell pull. And they show you some beautiful patterns. I think these might be kits for bell pulls. Really cute, from the dogs to the botanical bell pulls to the bears. They were really adorable. They often have sections in the British magazines with something celebrating things like wedding anniversaries or graduations, things that you don't find as often in an American magazine, and it's just something that they have a lot. They had an advertisement for another magazine, so maybe one publisher published both magazines. Um, I have one issue of Cross Stitch Crazy because I think that magazine just didn't have as many designs in it that appealed to me. This is Happily Ever After, so these are all designs for Cinderella. And there was a time when I would look for a pattern for certain things. I wanted a Sleeping Beauty pattern. You could find this or that, but not Sleeping Beauty. So I thought this was really nice how they showed different options. I think I do now have this one plus another one, but I still have not stitched them. They have a section called Can We Help, where you write your question and they answer it, which you can do now on like places like Facebook, and that's so nice to have people respond. Although people don't always respond, their expertise may or may not be good enough. This would have been much more reliable. They may or may not have answered your letter, of course, and featured it in the magazine. These were prizes you could win. They had like contests. You had to answer a question, and I guess a lot of people might have answered a question. I don't know if they just like drew out of a hat from those who sent in the correct responses at the same time, but they had different kinds of giveaways or contests. Again, these are like Easter cards that they had designs you could stitch. I have a bunch of cards for like putting a stitch project in and some perforated paper. And I actually have cross stitched a card before, only once. And I thought it was really cute. It was a card for my brother's wedding. I don't know if they kept it or not, but this is a section listing some back issues you could order and the binder that you could keep your cross stitch quilt in, which would be nice since they don't fit like an 8.5 by 11-inch type binder. I have this one with the teddy bears somewhere in one of my boxes. This is the one that has the Elizabethan lady. So that was the first issue of Cross Stitch Gold that I bought. But that pattern got kind of spoiled somehow. They have a section for your beginning stitcher. This is just to help people learn how to read charts. So I think it's okay that I showed that. This is showing you how to finish off your own project for framing if you don't want to take it to a professional framer, but they will do it for you. They do charge a fee usually, but if you can afford it, that sure is handy to have them do it for you. I've done it the other way, and it's not that bad, but this is what you would get in the next issue. And I love that they let you know what to expect. I really love Cross Stitch Gold, and I'm sad that it's no longer in print. I would love to get some of the older issues. I'm not sure how that will happen since it's, I don't know, I don't think it's as easy to find in a thrift store or at a yard sale as a lot of the other magazines. Leave your comments for me about the magazine or any of the projects, designers, or techniques. That would be great.